I'm doing a presentation today on apartheid in South Africa, the end of apartheid and how apartheid was born and introduced in South Africa, and according to the novel of An Era of Error by Carlos Gori. Yeah, this is Nelson Mandela. He was held in prison for 27 years in Robben Island, all in fight of against apartheid law in South Africa, and to gain freedom for people of Africa. He sacrificed his life and he died, but at the long run, the happiness of Africa today, the greatness of South Africa today, that the aim was achieved, victory at last. Yeah, this was how the apartheid law was after the National Party gained power in South Africa in 1948. Its all-white government immediately began enforcing existing policies of racial segregation under a system of legislation that is called apartheid. Under apartheid, non-white South Africans, the majority of the population, will be forced to live in separate areas, like the blacks were forced to live in a different area, and the whites were living in a different area than the Indians in a different area. Birth of apartheid, racial segregation and white supremacy had become central aspects of South Africa policy long before apartheid began. The controversial 1913 Land Act, passed 3 years after South Africa gained its independence, marked the beginning of territorial segregation by forcing black Africans to live in reserves and making it illegal for them to work as sharecroppers. Opponents of the Land Act formed the South African National Native Congress, which would become the African National Congress, ANC, in South Africa. And here, in 1990, Nelson Mandela was released in prison. That was after the concession, they reached an agreement, and he worked with the government, the present government that was in charge in South Africa, to be able to, to fight against apartheid, and they introduced some law, as against that. Then in 1958, would refine apartheid policy further into a system he referred to as separate development. The promotion of Bantu Self-Government Act in 1959 created 10 Bantu homelands known as Bantustans, separating black Africans from each other, enabled the government to claim there was no black majority, and reduced the possibility that blacks would unify into one nationalist organization in South Africa. Every black South African was designated as a citizen, one of the Bantustans, a system that was supposedly gave them full political rights, but effectively removed them from the nation's political body in South Africa. This is the opposition of the apartheid. This is when, the fight against apartheid began in South Africa, how the opposition fought against it. The resistance of apartheid within South Africa took many forms over the years, from non-violent demonstration, and from the first picture you saw the rally as against apartheid, of racism. That was the first introduction picture that you saw on the slides. Yes, and Nelson Mandela, the founder of Umkhonto we Sizwe, Spur of the Nation, the military wing of the ANC, was inherited from the 1963 to 1990. His imprisonment will draw international attention and help garner support for the anti-apartheid cause. Yeah, this is how apartheid came to an end in South Africa. In 1976, when thousands of black children in Soweto, a black township outside Johannesburg, demonstrate against the Afrikaans language requirement for black African students, the police opened fire with tear gas and bullets on children, on homeless and on blacks, And the protest government crackdown that followed, combined with a national economic recession, drew more international attention to South Africa and shattered all illusion that apartheid was brought peace or prosperity to the nation. The United Nations General Assembly had denounced apartheid in 1973, and in 1976 the UN Security Council voted to impose a mandatory embargo on the sale of arms to South Africa. In 1985, the United Kingdom and United States imposed economic sanctions on the country too in South Africa. So all these things were, the sanctions were to subject South Africans to still be under, like, I would call it a slavery, because the whites coming to South Africa to settle down, it's not their country, it's not their landmass, it was just for their selfish interests. They were there because of the natural resources that is in South Africa. Anywhere you see the whites in Africa, they are there because of their selfish interest, not for the peace or the love that they want to share with us, Africans. This is a picture. It says, say no to racism, defy apartheid. You can see the picture, they are whites because, you know, like they were intermarriage. Between there was a law that was passed that whites are not able to get married to blacks or Indians, you know, so you need one another. You can fall in love with somebody else, not minding the color, the background, where the person is from. It doesn't matter. Love is something that flows naturally. So it wasn't, some whites were not finding it easy on their own. You need one another to survive in everything you do. These are the natural resources in South Africa: gold, agriculture, wildlife, diamond, platinum, silver, and many more. You know, and this is the main reason why the whites settled in South Africa. Yes. These are some important places in South Africa. This is Sun City. This is the International School of South Africa. This is victory at last. Nelson Mandela casting his vote. And Nelson Mandela with Bill Clinton inside the Robben Island prison, where Mandela was held for 27 years. But that was after Mandela was released. So Clinton visited him. Now, right now, the place is a tourist place. You know, it's a museum. So like people go there, visit there, and take pictures. The prison where Nelson Mandela was held for 27 years. This is the Robben Island. Yeah, it's a shore. You can see it's inside the water. And this is the entrance of the prison. Yeah, this is Oprah Winfrey. She has a school in South Africa, all in the support of black Africans. And this is some of her students in South Africa. And this is the Apartheid Museum. You can see there's a black line for blacks and the other one for non-whites. For whites and non-whites, you can see, but right now, every other, you can use any entrance that you want. But during the apartheid period, that was whites and non-blacks. You know, they don't have things in common. That's the way they see it. But God created all of us. This is Durban, South Africa. This is where Miss Kras is from. And this is a picture of a stadium in South Africa. The first picture you see was where they had the FIFA World Cup in South Africa, and the other one is the Durban Stadium in South Africa. And this is some of the airports in South Africa: Cape Town, South Africa, and Durban International Airport. This is some of the wildlife pictures of the animals you see. Some of the pictures of the wildlife. Then this is the population in South Africa as of today. And South Africa has 9 provinces, which is one of the common things in Canada. Canada has province, not state. And South Africa has province too. And it has 9 provinces. And as at mid-2015, the estimated population is 54,956,900 people. This is South Africa, a multicultural country, where it consists of whites, blacks, Indians, other African countries. And see some of the pictures. Yeah, this is the currency used in South Africa. It is called rand. US dollar is not spent anywhere in South Africa. Yes. And this is the death of Mandela when he was laid home for his final rest at his hometown. Peace, South Africa, and one love Africa.
Questions? Do you have any questions?
You're speechless.
Any question?
Questions? Jasmine? Questions? No? What were your views on the book, An Era of Error?
The views of the book on An Era of Error as regards to this presentation today was about the racism, the segregation. When you look at the apartheid on the book on Era of Error, like when the maid of the grandmother had her baby at home, she could have had a better life, a better future. She would have had a baby at home. What if the maid had died having the child at home? You know, all these things was just brutalism, dejection, rejection. Is a sin of humanity. Racism is a sin of